he was going on things he heard from the Jews or the Israelites and some of his old beliefs. So he wrote what he wanted, and that's why it doesn't sync up with the Bible. All right, it's just not authentic. The last point I'd like to touch on is this is in Surah 23 and 14. Let's see. Bear with me 1 second. Let's see if I can find it, because I spoke to some of our Arab brothers, and what one brother told me is that Muhammad had to have been a prophet because he knew about the birth process. What it is that when I spoke to the brother, I heard from another brother, he said that Muhammad had to have been a prophet, all right, because he knew about what went on in the womb before anybody even knew about that. How would he know if he wasn't a prophet? So then so that's something I thought about, I consider. I just don't listen to stuff and be like, oh, the hell with that, because it's not what I believe. I think about it and consider it. But then it came to mind to, look it up in the Quran and see what it was really saying. But then when you read it, Muhammad didn't really know when you read what he wrote down, Muhammad didn't really know what went on in the womb itself, like how doctors today know about the embryo and splitting into certain cells and the sperm fertilizing the egg. He just knew the same thing that everybody else knew. Let's check it out and let's see. You see what I mean. This is Surah 23 and 14. It says, "Then we made the sperm into a clot of blood, into a clot of congealed blood. Then of the clot we made a fetus lump. Then we made out of the lump bones and clothed the bones with flesh. Then we developed out of it another creature. So blessed be Allah, the best to create." Now let's examine that. It says, "Then we made the sperm into a clot of congealed blood." Now, when you go into it, he didn't go through he didn't mention the female egg and how the sperm fertilized the female egg. All right. Why? Because to many people back then, that was invisible because they couldn't see inside the female body like doctors can today. But what they could actually see, what was visible to them, was sperm. And everyone knew that sperm was what went into the woman to make her pregnant. That was known throughout the ancient world. But it never vividly described the process of a woman getting pregnant and everything. You understand what I'm saying? Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that you start off with a clump and so on and so forth. The baby grows within you. All right? Let's go into it. Even when you read the scriptures, Solomon had knowledge of certain things like that. People in the ancient world weren't dumb like they want us to think. People in the ancient world knew a lot about science, stars, astrology, cells, and things like that. You understand what I'm saying? But when you read right here, let's look at it again. "Then we made the sperm into a clot of congealed blood. Then of that clot we made a fetus lump." It shows you he doesn't describe the process. He just described the part that was visible to anyone anyway, because everyone knows that sperm. Everyone back then even then knew that it was sperm that got you pregnant. All right. If to really be amazing, he would have had to say, well, there's an egg inside the woman's uterus. The sperm hit the egg and changed or whatever. But he couldn't describe the invisible part. Why? Well, he wasn't a prophet. He didn't know about that. So that doesn't prove that he was a prophet either. All right. One scripture to prove that people back then knew about sperm getting women pregnant. This is Genesis chapter 38. This is chapter 38. Bear with me 1 second, because there's a story in the Bible where a brother laid down where a man laid down with his brother's widow, and he didn't want to get her pregnant, so he, pulled out, so to speak. This is Genesis 38 and 9. 38 and 8. "And Judah said unto Onan, Go in unto thy brother's wife," well, we know what that means, we don't have to get explicit, "and marry her and raise up seed to thy brother. And Onan knew that the seed would not be his. And it came to pass, when he went in unto his brother's wife," we all know what that means, "that he spilled it," meaning the seed, "on the ground, lest that he should give seed," or a son, a child, "to his brother." So people back then knew that the seed or the sperm is what impregnated people. So Muhammad didn't know anything different or, prophetical or whatever the case might be. And the last scripture is Wisdom of Solomon 7. Let's read from verse 17 on down. This is in a book called the Apocrypha, which the Apocrypha is a collection of books that had been taken out of the original Bible. But this is one of the books, Wisdom of Solomon 7 and 17. This is Solomon, one of the great kings of Israel, writing this. He said, "For he hath given me certain knowledge of things that are, namely to know how the world was made and the operation of the elements, the beginning, ending, and midst of times, the alteration of the turning of the sun, and the change of the seasons." So people back then knew about all these things. The circuits of years and the positions of stars, astronomy, the nature of living creatures, right? And the furies of wild beasts, the violence of the winds, and the reasoning of men, and diversities of plants and virtues of roots, and all such things as are either secret or manifest that might know. Sure, that what people had knowledge back then. He even says he knew, verse 20, the nature of living creatures. All right, so now with that, I hope you enjoyed the series of understanding Islam. And this is to our brothers and sisters out there. Come back to your nationality. Keep the laws, the biblical laws that we broke. Because the religions and philosophies out there, they're not teaching us that. Because when Christ returns, if you're not keeping the laws, you're going to catch your death. Just like how so many thousands of people are dying around the world now and the different calamities that are increasing. It's all going to get worse. You haven't seen anything yet. So now there's contact information at the end of the show. So contact us. Come down to one of our schools that we have set up and learn more about your history and your nationality. All right. And with that, I'd like to say shalom, which means peace.